When they were together, they could share everything. I think it actually would have been an almost impossible job for someone to do on their own. So it was a partnership. It's very important when you have a very serious job like that. You've got to be able to laugh.
Yeah, definitely. And Prince Andrew spoke out and said, obviously, this death is a huge void in her life. I mean, how do you think that she is coping during this time? I know that Prince Edward said that I think she's, doing amazing, under the circumstances.
I would say she was coping extremely well. Mm-hmm. She is so used to bereavements. It's not as if she didn't think this was coming. She knew this was going to happen. I think she would have loved it if at least he could have lived, through her birthday, which is the April the 21st, and even if he'd managed to live to his 100th. But she knew he didn't, she knew he didn't really care about being 100. Only everyone else cared about it. And I think that she has a strength, and I think that his death would have been a shock, although it was expected, although he was so old, it still would have been a shock, because it is a shock. And shock makes you quite go into a sort of, what I always call it, military mode, because you actually do things very, very calmly, very exactly, very quickly, and you just get on with it. Mm-hmm. And usually grief hits a little bit later. So I would think that the Queen is absolutely just getting on with the organisation or delegating her wishes as to what she wants happened. And I should think she is fine. I think when the whole thing is over, will be the hard time for her.
How do you think the Queen is coping this week?
Well, I think that the Queen will have anticipated this, because she will have known the medical prognosis. I think the positive thing to have come out of it is that the Queen and Prince Philip have spent more time together in the last year because of COVID. They've both been forced to stay at Windsor Castle than they have during them since they were living in Malta when they were just married in 1949-50. So, Prince Philip has been ailing for some time. We've all known that. And if you're living with somebody, as the Queen was, you'll pick up on those nuances far more clearly than we will. So I don't think it will have come as an unexpected blow. And the Queen's character is very stoical. She's a very matter-of-fact character, and I always wonder what it's like for somebody to know that everybody's planning their funeral, as they do with all members of the royal family. It's a bit creepy, but that's what that's what protocol needs.
You said obviously Prince Philip and Queen Elizabeth's love story is something of the ages. I mean, you don't really get love stories like that. I mean, how would you describe their love story?
Enduring, I think. Mm-hmm. Because they were two unique people, and only they knew what it was like to be them, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
And they were in unique circumstances. They shared things. So, for instance, when they were younger, they were constantly traveling around the Commonwealth and around the world. And then Philip used to go off on his own. But when they were together, they could share everything. I think it actually would have been an almost impossible job for someone to do on their own. So it was a partnership, a very unique partnership.